Hey friends, what's up and welcome back to a new video on this channel. In today's video I want to turn a light UI into a dark UI. I'm sure you have seen it on so many of your apps. We have a dark UI that is here for a quite long time already actually, but many apps didn't convert their normal light UI into the dark UI. And I have to say I love the dark UI. Please, app makers, app developers, app designers, convert your apps into the dark UI, dark mode, or whatever you want to call it, because it is helping my eyes so much when I'm using my phone and it is dark outside. So please do that. This video is sponsored by Dev Mountain, an in-person coding and design bootcamp. In today's video I want to turn a free sketch resource that I just downloaded from a light UI into a dark UI, and it's such a file management or cloud system that I want to turn into a dark UI. You can download both the light UI, the freebie basically, and also my version, which is the dark version, down in the video description. I posted the links there, and if you would like to see more about converting light UIs into dark UIs, please give this video a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a copy of the first screen, which is the first screen that we are gonna turn dark. I know that the operation systems have their design guidelines, but I saw in the apps that I'm using that they are actually quite flexible. What you can do is you can just select the background layer and turn the background into a dark color, but make sure that you don't use black, because black is too dark basically. Choose a quite dark color, but don't use black. I'd use a quite dark color because I would like to make these boxes that we have in here not as dark as the background. So the background is about like that, but I would like to make them a bit lighter like this. Of course we can still also use the purple or blue color that we have right here, but we could also turn it in a more darker version because it's still quite bright. But before we do that, I would like to change the color of our layers in here. I don't have the font, so I need to double click them to change the font. SF Pro Text, what do we have here? This. Okay, so select these two layers in here, get rid of the color, and then we can just play with the color basically and find a nice way to display them. Then we have a percentage basically of the space that is available, or maybe the upload that is currently loading, and turn it into a lighter, more light color. And then we have loading, and loading doesn't has to be fully white, or basically it has this opacity. That's why I would go for a full white color in here and maybe even increase the opacity just by a little bit. Okay, so we have that. We have the top part and the bottom part, and we still have one of those headlines in here. Of course the headline has to be white too, and that is basically already what we could do in here. We can still of course also add a few effects to these graphics that we have down here, because from my personal feeling I think that they are still a bit too bright. That's why I would create an additional fill and go for full black, and then maybe change the opacity of our fill a bit, just maybe like 15% or something like that. And that way we have a quite nice like darkened interface, especially when it comes to these two graphics. I'm still not 100% happy about the top part because I think it's still quite bright. Maybe we can do the same in here. I'm gonna just use a black fill and then maybe darken it up a little bit. Of course you need to make sure, if you are designing a real project and you have a client, speak to them, make sure that they know you're probably touching one of their main primary colors of their business or whatever, and that you are going to darken it potentially. I think you would have to try it out. Maybe this is already okay, or if you need to maybe decrease the brightness of it a bit by like maybe 20%. I think that also looks kind of good, to be honest. I like the new way that this looks. If we now copy the second screen, we can of course also now copy a few of our colors that we already set. We have a few headlines that we have to select and change the font color. And also we have these, and now it is going to be interesting when we have these tiles down here. Let me select these right there. They have the same color. I'm gonna copy the style of this one and paste it over here. So we have the same style in here too. And what is now going to be interesting is this one right here. For the first time we are changing a white element inside a colorful one, and we could go for maybe something like this. I mean, this is now changing, like correcting the interface quite a bit. But we could still do that. Like darken this up, selecting the text layer in here, and then also going to select the two arrows or sliders or whatever, and then maybe like giving them something like that. So this is our whole layout, and as I said, this is down here going to be like the most interesting part, because I don't want to turn them into like plain gray backgrounds, because from here we went from white to gray. I think that's fine, but in here they have a background color, and what we now should actually do is to make sure that they still somehow represent the original color, but to make sure that they aren't as bright as they were before. Same goes for these icons that we have in here. Yeah, we need to change them separately. So I'm gonna just use my color picker, and then I'm gonna just try out a few things in here. Maybe let's go for this color right there. Then I'm gonna select the color here and drag it up a bit like that. Of course, also make sure to change the font color again, so that all of the text that we have in here is matching like that. And here I would also increase the opacity by a little bit. And when it comes to the color of these backgrounds, I would like to maybe change the color again a little bit like that. The bottom one is fine, but I think it looks much nicer right now. So let me check this out if we still have some too bright colors. We could think about changing the brightness of these few bars that we have right here, but I think that they are also okay the way they are. If you would use this app now on your phone and it's dark outside, it's getting dark, it's in the evening or whatever, I think it would be much easier for you to view it and to not be frustrated because of the brightness of the screen. That's the way I would personally turn this light UI into the dark UI, and you can also, as I said, download both files in the video description. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the thumb up button and subscribe to the channel. Bye! Dev Mountain offers housing at no extra cost for immersive students, and they have a career services team to help with job placements. Dev Mountain would love to hear from you, so be sure to click the link in the video description if you or somebody you know is ready to dive into the UX design program.